Hi, Cowboys. So, I had this idea to read the lowest rated books on my Goodreads TBR, which is not an original idea by any stretch of the imagination. I've seen it all over the place, and I love watching the videos because, like the tea. The tea is so there. So I went to my phone. Maybe I'll screen record it like a fancy bitch and put it in here if I can figure that out. But I went to my Goodreads and magically made it so that on my listed TBR that I have on Goodreads, I saw them from the lowest average rating to the highest average rating. So I did that, and then I decided to do the lowest 3 because, listen, you've seen a vlog like this before with 9 books, and it took me 8 million years, and this is going to take me a long time just with 3. So we're going to keep it as small as possible. So the 3 books on there, I thought I would kind of go through why they're on my TBR in the first place, and then I can jump into talking about why they're about. So I think the lowest rated book on my TBR is a book called Bent Heavens by Daniel Kraus. The reason it's on my TBR to begin with is, hold on, I got a little stack over here. The reason it's on my TBR to begin with is because I read The Death and Life of Zebulon Finch in high school. I'm sure nobody has heard of this book. It's very obscure. I think I heard about it in an Entertainment Weekly article or something really weird, and I thought I would check it out because the cover is really cool. And this book is massive. I read it, and it's one of the weirdest books I've ever read in my entire life. It's basically about this dude who dies and he comes back to life, but his body starts decaying because he doesn't age, but his body doesn't heal. This book's gross and weird, but it's unlike anything I've ever read. So I've just been kind of interested in what Daniel Kraus has been writing since. I own the oh my god, this book almost fell down. That would have hurt me. That book is so heavy. I own the sequel, but it's also massive, so I haven't read it yet. So I have this by him, but I've also read 2 other books by him. One's called Rotters, which is also weird and gross. And then I have Scowler, which is also weird and gross. I don't know why I keep reading this dude's books, but for some reason, maybe it's just because of the writer in me or something, but they're all so unique and unlike anything I've ever read before that I can't help but give them 4 and 5 stars. I'm like, that was weird. Good job. I don't know. Also, doesn't this kind of look like Walter White? Bro, I haven't even seen Breaking Bad, but doesn't it kind of look like him? Anyway, I would probably say Zebulon Finch was my favorite, and then Scowler, and then Rotters was bad. I didn't really like Rotters that much. I gave it 3 stars, but it was stupid. I don't know. It was gross. This one, hold on, there was one, I know I'm really going on about this, but Daniel Kraus is just this interesting dude, and I'm going to talk about one of his books in this video, so why not? I remember there was a part of this book where I was like, how did this get published? How is this published and I'm not published? Which isn't, I gave this book 4 stars, so it's not, hold on, give me a moment to find this. I forget where it is. This is what taking a long time. I don't remember where it is in the book. Oh no. Oh, I really should turn off the camera, but I didn't. I may or may not have just ruined the angle, but I found it. So there's this page where, this is just a taste of what this author is like. There's this page with gibberish on it, and I was like, great, I'm glad this is published, and I'm not. All of this is to say that I've read 3 of this man's books, and I put another one on my TBR because I'm curious. So that's the reason it's on there in the first place. I'm pretty sure it's about, aliens or something, and I've heard that the reason why it's rated so lowly is because, for the most part, this dude, or, every single book that I've read by him, the main character is a man, and most of the characters are men, which isn't great, but, I heard in this book that the main character is a woman, and that he writes her terribly, it's classic, men writing women, so I've heard that's why it's so low, so I'm worried, but I'm gonna read it. And the second lowest rated book on there is this book called Docile. I forget who it's by, but I'll put a picture up right here. I don't own it. I don't own Bent Heavens either, but I'm going to get both from the library. I heard about this book from Chelsea Darling Reads, who's one of my favorite booktubers, and she said that it was like bad but really interesting. And the way she described it, I was like, I'm kind of interested. So I put it on my TBR because I was interested in it, but I just haven't read it. And that's the whole story there. I love how I talked about Daniel Krauss for 25 minutes, and that's all I have to say about that one. And then the last one is this one called I got inspired because I found this at the library, and I was like, wait, this book's rated really lowly. I should do like a whole video. So thanks, library, for inspiring me. This is called The Season of Migration by Nellie Herman. And the reason I wanted to read this is because it's all about Vincent van Gogh. I love Vincent van Gogh. He's one of my favorite artists. I know that's like so cliche to be like, who's your favorite artist? Vincent van Gogh. But he is, I'm sorry. And I know a lot about him because I've read other books about him before. And this book's so short, and I don't understand why it's rated so lowly. Maybe it sucks. I guess it does if it's rated so lowly. Guess I'll find out. So yeah, those are the 3 books I'm going to read throughout the course of this video. We'll see how fast I read them, probably very slowly because I'm always reading 500 things at once. But yeah, that's my little intro. I'll see you guys soon with an update on any of the 3 of these. Bye! So I just started Bent Heavens just cause I read 3 pages and there's already a naked man on like page 2, so no. Hey yo. So I know I said I started Bent Heavens by Daniel Krauss, but then I veered left and read the entirety of The Season of Migration by Nellie Herman instead, because my family went to the beach, so I just sat on the beach and read this, and it's really short. It's like 240 pages or something, so I read it pretty quickly. And okay, so before I get into it, I will say that I think part of the reason this has such a low rating on Goodreads is because not a lot of people have reviewed this in the first place. Like, it only has like 200 reviews or something like that. So that makes more sense. Also, I'm sorry for this. I wish it wasn't on my face either, but you know, we live and continue on. Anyway, so I think that's part of the reason, but also, I didn't like this. First of all, like, this book is supposedly, like, it's about Vincent van Gogh, right? Which is why I was interested in it in the first place, because I love Vincent van Gogh. So that's the whole reason I wanted to pick this up. And while it is about Vincent van Gogh, it's like a historical fiction about his life in a period of a period of time before he was an artist. So I don't know how much of this is actually based on fact. I would have to look it up, but it takes place in this year that he is a preacher in a mining town. And it just like takes you through like what happened, or a fictional account of what happened in this mining town. And it's mostly told through letters to his brother Theo. So Vincent van Gogh wrote letters to his brother Theo his whole life. They were really close, and that's a relationship I've always been really interested in, because Theo van Gogh basically financially supported Vincent his entire life. They were really, really close. Theo van Gogh died like 2 days after Vincent died because he was heartbroken, all this stuff. But like, this book could have been about like any old schmuck, I felt like. Like, there was like a little bit about art, but this could have been a historical story about anybody. Like, it didn't feel like a story about Vincent van Gogh, you know? It like could have been anybody with a close relationship with his brother. Like, it just was kind of disappointing because I didn't feel there was any like standout that made me be like, oh yeah, this is about Vincent van Gogh. I read another book about Vincent van Gogh called Vincent and Theo, which also is not great, but at least I felt like it was about Vincent van Gogh, you know what I mean? A problem I've had with both that Vincent van Gogh book and this one is that the writing is like the other one had really bad writing. This writing wasn't bad, but both of them have this thing where they're really like trying to be so artsy and deep and so literary that it's just dumb and overwhelming, and like I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense, but you know when you read writing and it's just too much, and it's like not too much in a good way, but too much in a like cringy way where you're like, oh, like it's cringy. That's the word I'm looking for. that was this. It was just cringy. Like, some sentences I'd be like, ooh, you're trying to be symbolic and you're not. Like, this is just cringe. The last big problem I had with this is that, okay, listen. So Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad is my least favorite book of all time. I hate that book with a burning, fiery passion because of many reasons. But the number one reason is that it's racist AF, and I hate it. So part of Heart of Darkness is that I can't remember exactly the time period, but this white man is watching all of these. Oh my God, I think he's in Africa. I'm going to look this up so I don't get it wrong, but I think he's in Africa. Anyway, this white man is basically witnessing all these terrible things happening to African people. And then he basically goes on to be like, woe is me. My life is so hard because I'm witnessing these terrible crimes. And I'm like, are you for real right now? And that was essentially what luckily it wasn't the racist part, but something similar happened where Vincent is living in this mining town, and obviously mining is a really, really hard profession for these people. Like, there's explosions, people die all the time, and he's interacting with all these people who, like, they hate their job, but they can't go on strike because every time they try and go on strike, it just backfires against them, and they just end up never getting any more money, and they also just don't have food on top of that, or any money at all, and just all these horrible circumstances in this mining town. And Vincent ends up being like, wow, like, my life was so hard in this mining town because I had to watch all these things happen to these people, and I'm sitting here like, okay, well, at least you weren't a miner in the mining town. Like, shut up. I just was so annoyed. Yeah, so the only saving grace of this book is that it was short. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. The only reason it doesn't get 1 star is that it didn't, like, horribly offend me. I usually reserve 1-star books for books that just, like, were almost impossible to get through, and this was still, like, readable and pretty much not offensive. So yeah, so this is the first book. I'm going to read Ben Heavens next, so I don't really have high hopes for that one. I feel like I had more high hopes for this one. I have less high hopes for Ben Heavens, so I'll update ya. Maybe not when I finish it. I meant to update like halfway through this one, and then I just didn't end up doing that. But wish me luck. This is not going well so far. Bye. Hello. Yes, I did cut off all my hair since the last clip, and I'm also leaning on a big whale. So that's what this clip's looking like. So I'm here to update because I'm about halfway through Ben Heavens by Daniel Kraus, and I have some thoughts. First of all, listen, one of the reasons I actually like all the other books I've read by Daniel Kraus is that they're really, really well written. Like, the guy can write a sentence, you know what I mean? Like, part of the reason I love Zebulon Finch so much is because it's one of the most well-written books I've ever read. It's so well written to the point where, like, sometimes I have to, like, reread a few sentences because I'm like, I don't even understand what he just said. Those words were so big and interesting, I don't even know what just happened. So, like, he can write, you know? So the book, Ben Heavens, is written really well, just in general. But there are just some things happening that I don't know I like. First of all the buzz I heard about the main character being it's not that she doesn't act like a girl, like, because a lot of the time when men write women, like, the girl acts like a dude. It's not that she doesn't act like a girl, it's like it's so weird. Like, so let me tell you the premise of the book. I didn't even say that. The premise of the book is that this main character named Liv, her dad was allegedly abducted by aliens. He came back, and then he was, like, crazy for a couple years because he kept being like, yo, I got abducted by aliens. And then he disappears, like, 2 years after that. So that's where the book begins. So, like, this whole thing happened with her dad. And she's, like, never believed it. But, of course, like, something happens where, like, an alien shows up. And we kind of go from there. But Liv, the main character, has this best friend named Doug. And it's clear from the beginning of the book that they were kind of childhood friends, and then as they grew up, they've drifted apart a little bit, and like Liv doesn't really want anything to do with Doug anymore because like he reminds her of her dad, because Doug was like got along with Liv's dad really well, and like all this stuff. But it's so weird because like for half this book so far, she's like, oh my gosh, like I just want to live my normal life with and like be friends with these cross-country girls and like hang with them, and Doug sucks and I'm not going to talk to him. Like that's half the book. And then the other half, she's like worshiping him. It's really weird. Like every other page, it's either like I hate Doug and I don't want to hang out with him, or like, wow, I can't believe God made such a brave man in Doug, and what would I do if Doug wasn't here? And I'm like, this is weird. Like I love my friends, but I've never been like, wow, like what a creation. I would not be able to live without him. Well, obviously I wouldn't be able to live without my friends, but like I'm like, it's just too much, you know what I mean? It is too much. I'm like, why can't this girl do one thing herself? Why does Doug have to do everything? And then she's like, wow, Doug is just the bee's knees. I love him so much. So that's really weird. Like it's just too much. I already said that, but it's a lot, and I don't think I like it. And then the other thing is, so I'm just spoilers for this book. I'm gonna spoil it. I don't know. They like find an alien, right? And they like Doug and Liv find an alien. They capture it and like bring it to their shed, like Liv's shed in the backyard, and like tie it up in there because they're like, you took my dad and it's very confusing. Sometimes they're like, we're gonna question it for answers to find my dad, if he's still alive, like, and we really need to like logically think about this. And then sometimes they just like beat the shit out of the alien for no reason. Like this alien isn't attacking them, it's not being aggressive, so they're just beating it up, and it's really uncomfortable to read. It's like they're torturing this alien just because they're angry, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like, I don't know. Daniel Cross's other books I've read, like, none of them are for the faint of heart, you know what I mean? Like, I mentioned that they were gross and that a lot of weird things happen, and I don't like everything that happens in his books, but again, they're so unique that I've read a bunch of them because I'm just curious. But this, I feel like, is on a different level. Like, maybe I blocked it out or something, but in my memory, like, Zebulon Finch is more gross than violent, you know what I mean? Like, Zebulon Finch, like, does, like, a lot of gross things happen to him, but he doesn't, and he's, like, mean. He's a mean character, but from my memory, he doesn't just wail on an innocent civilian for no reason. Like, I don't know, like, this alien has not done anything to Liv and Doug, and they just have been attacking it, and it's happened like 3 times. Like, now the book's getting repetitive because it's like, maybe we shouldn't do anything, and then they beat the alien up, and then they're like, maybe we shouldn't do anything, then they beat the alien up, and I'm like, and then they keep like, after they beat it up, they like help it and like give it food and like patch it up, and I'm like, what is going on? So I don't like it, and I'm gonna keep reading it because I guess I'm torturing myself. I don't know. Wish me luck. Bye. Like, I get it. Like, books are weird, and, like, it's fun to read weird books, but, like, this book is weird. Like, there was just a scene, again, spoilers, if you don't want to read Ben Heavens, but there was just a scene where Liv finally wants to, like, help this alien or something, and Doug was going to try and reveal it to a bunch of people, which confuses me because, like, one of their arguments was, like, Liv wanted to, like, bring it to the police, but Doug's like, no, let's just reveal it to all of our classmates instead. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And, like, she didn't want him to do that, so she, like, took it to the woods, but it was cold and raining, so now she took it inside her house to, like, warm it up, and, like, they, like, spent the night together in a bed. I mean, they didn't, like, do anything, but, like, I'm uncomfy. I don't know. I guess I'll keep going. I don't really want to. Send help. Okay, I've read, like, 4 more pages, but so she, like, spends the night with the alien and then wakes up and then Like, Doug comes over and she's like, okay, go kill the alien now. What? What? Excuse me? I don't understand this book. There's the most flip-flopping between what they want to do. Like, the motivations are never clear. I don't understand these characters. I don't get what they want. I'm lost. I still have like 50 to 100 pages left because I'm reading on my phone, so I don't really know. But there's still a significant chunk left, and I don't want to read it anymore, but I'm going to finish it. Maybe today. Maybe I'll force myself to do this today. Anyway. Alright, I finished Men Heavens. I have many thoughts about it. So, alright, I'm just going to spoil the entire book so that I can talk about everything. So, if you honestly want to read this book, and I'm really going to go into every single spoiler, so leave now if you want to read it. So, right at the beginning, I've already talked about aliens, this chick's dad, etc., etc. So we find out at about the, like, 3/4 of the way through that it wasn't actually aliens at all, but that Liv's dad had cancer, and somehow he discovered this place, kind of like in Deadpool, where they, like, experimented on him to, like, not have cancer, but then he ended up, like, with superpowers. So they took him to this place. I don't know how he found it or whatever. That wasn't explained. But he went to this place, got experimented on, then escaped. And that was like the 2-year period where he was talking about how he was abducted. And then he remembered everything and remembered there was a lot of other people there that he wanted to, like, save or something. So he went back, but then he was just experimented on again. And I think you know where this is going because I figured it out. And I was like, no way, that would be stupid. We're not going in that direction. But we were indeed going in that direction. And the alien is actually Liv's dad, who was experimented on. And they, like, this alien that they've been, like, torturing this whole time. And they, like, slept in Liv's bed one night. I guess that was foreshadowing or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was her dad. So that was kind of dumb. I don't know how I feel about that because I guess it was like a good twist or something, but like I don't know. I wish it had been done differently. Like, I don't know if I liked it, you know? Some plot twists I feel like are really well done. And I just don't know if there was enough build up. I don't know. Like, it was just kind of cheesy. Like a cheesy twist. Like, I wish, you know what I wish? I wish that if this was going to be the twist for this, like, secret experimentation place, I wanted it to have more world building because this is all in the last quarter of the book and they barely talk about this place. Like, I barely understood what was going on. I was very confused about how she found it. Like, it all happened very quickly. I think I would have more accepted the twist if it had been explained more. But like I said, I don't even know how her dad found it. Like, did he get kidnapped? Like, I don't know. So that was weird. I didn't really like that. And oh my god, the ending of this book, I was crazy. So, all right, let me go back a little bit. So I haven't even mentioned this character. There is a pretty minor character in the book named Bruno, who is a new student at the school, and this is like everybody's senior year of high school. This is like all takes place in September, Liv's senior year of high school. And so, like, the first day of school or something, Liv meets Bruno, and they, like, kind of strike up a friendship that has zero chemistry, but I won't even start to complain about that. But they have, like, a little romance or something that, again, has, like, zero chemistry. I have no idea why Bruno liked Liv, because she talked to him for 2 minutes. Like, she just treated him terribly, but apparently they fell in love. I don't know. Whatever. So, like, that was a thing, but then, like, that we hit a certain point in the book where Liv's like, I can't handle this, like, there's aliens, and I'm down, like, the stuff is hitting the fan, and she breaks up with them, even though they weren't a couple, and they don't talk for a while, and then Doug goes crazy and takes the alien who none of us at this point in the book knew that it was Liv's dad. So he takes the alien to kill it. Although I mentioned this earlier. After, like, Liv and her dad spend the night in the same bed, him as an alien, her as a human, I really don't know. So after that, she's like, kill him. Let's put him out of his misery or whatever. And then Doug's like, I got it. And takes Lee, Liv's dad, takes Lee. And then we don't hear from Doug for like 4 days. And Liv on day 4 is like, I don't think he's doing what he said he was going to do. And I'm like, really? So she is like, well, maybe he's like not doing what he said he did. And also she figures everything out in this time. She like figures out that her dad is the alien, blah, blah, blah. She goes to find Doug. Doug has tortured her dad, and like very badly. Like, she assumes her father's dead because she finds all this evidence of like him being tortured. We don't see his body, but she assumes he's dead. Then she like she finds Doug, and then she finds, she finds like a body under a tarp, right? Like in this field or whatever that her and Doug have like found each other. And she's like yelling at Doug. She's like, Doug, it was Dad the whole time. Doug's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You have to be lying. Then there's like a tarp, bodies moving. She's like, duh, it's Dad. He brought him out here. You see where this is going? She's like, oh, he's been tortured so much, I'll just put him out of his misery. And I was like, girl, why don't you check under the tarp just to be pretty sure? But of course she does not, because this is a book. And she stabs the tarp, kills whoever's in there. Guess who's in there? Bruno. Bruno's in there. She kills him. Then Doug dies. Then her father dies. And then, oh yeah, her father like shows up and like tries to beat up Doug, but then Doug dies without her father's. I won't even go into that. They both die. Then she's like, guess I'll carry dead Bruno out of here. Carries him out of the field. And then it's alluded to at the very end of the book that Bruno's alive, and that's the end of the book. So, I mean, great. If he's alive, I'm glad at least she didn't kill him. But, like, what? I don't know how I feel. I don't think I liked any of it. So I don't know. I feel like I get what Daniel Kraus was doing in a way. He had like an author's note about it that I won't go into, but he basically that torture's bad. Like, okay, cool. I understand what you were doing there, but like the way you went about it, like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I think this was my least favorite Daniel Kraus book because I did like Scowler actually quite a bit. I love Zebulon Finch. Rodders, I gave Rodders 3 stars, but I feel like if I read it today, I would give it 2 stars, and it's about on the same level as this book, I'd say. So I think I'm going to give this book like 2.5. I think that's my final decision. I don't think it's completely worthless. The writing's great, but there was a lot going on I didn't really like. And so that's the rating I'm going to give it. So far, these low-rated books ain't going well. I have one more book for this, Docile. I don't have it from the library yet, so hopefully that shows up soon. My hold comes in, and I can read. That one's the longest book out of the 3 of these, so it might take me a little longer, but I hope I like it better than these 2 first books, because after Ben Heavens, like, I don't know, man. I need to go take a break and play video games or something. Bye. Howdy, for once, my hair is dry. One of these clips. So I just got Docile from the library. I got it a lot earlier than I thought I was going to, so that's great, but it's very long. On my phone, usually books on my phone are about 500 pages, like Ben Heavens was like 500 phone pages, and Docile is like 1,000 phone pages, so I have my work cut out for me, but I just started it, and it's super interesting so far. Like, I'm getting very Black Mirror, like Altered Carbon, futuristic vibes. I'm very interested. I'm kind of worried because I know that there's a lot of consent stuff that I'm definitely gonna have to put triggers up for this book somewhere when I finish it, when I know all the stuff that happens in it. But I'm very intrigued so far, so I'll keep you updated. Okay, I just sat here and read a bunch of this book. It is addictive. I don't know. Like, the subject matter is nothing to take lightly, definitely. But, and it's clear the author, it's a commentary. Let me try and explain what this book's about. So essentially, we're in this world where some people are in huge amounts of debt because I guess it's way in the future. And so, like, people's student loans debt has gotten passed down to their children if they couldn't pay it, or like any debt they've had has gotten passed down until their ancestors have all this debt they can't pay that's just added up over generations and generations from like couples getting married and both of their debt coming onto their children. So it's basically debt they don't even owe because they technically did not like go to college and build up the debt or take in the loan and build up the debt and stuff like that. So it's about one guy named Elijah who has all this debt he has to pay off. And so all these people, in order to pay off their debt, can go and basically be slaves to rich people. And they can be something called docile, which is why the book is called that, where they are under this like chemical where like they can refuse the chemical, but it's kind of like a trap because they almost want the chemical because these rich people can tell them to do whatever they want. So the chemical kind of helps them, it makes them docile. So it makes them like not be affected so much by what these rich people command them to do. They don't feel all of the pain they're suffering through by having to be these rich people's slaves, essentially. And oh my god, it's crazy. Like, it's a Black Mirror episode. It's written really well, and it's so addictive. I'm very invested because obviously it's a commentary because we're from Elijah's perspective, and Elijah's clearly being like, this is so messed up. This is crazy. So we're seeing his perspective as a commentary on the world, but we're also seeing from his owner's perspective and how it's just so interesting because clearly this is the way the world is. So Alex doesn't know any different. Like, he thinks that because he has all this money, like, this is just the way the world is to him. And it's very interesting. And I am invested. I've read a bunch of this book in like a few hours. So I feel like it's going to be a quick read, even though it's super long. I will update you with more thoughts. I definitely, like, I get why people wouldn't like this book because it's handling such touchy subjects, but I don't think it's not like the author is endorsing this, you know what I mean? And so I'm also kind of confused at all the bad ratings. Maybe I'll have to look into the reviews. Maybe the book gets worse. I don't know. We're going to keep going. Anyway. Hi everyone. Whoa, sun is bright. I'm in my car. Wow, sun's bright everywhere. This is fine. I thought I'd change it up because I just got home from work for the day. Let me turn my car off. So I'm here to update. Why am I still buckled? It's fine. So I'm here to update about Docile. It's been a little while because I took a break last week to do the Buzzwordathon, but now I'm back on it because Homegirl needs to read this book before it's due at the library, which is in like 5 days or something. So it's going to be done within the next 5 days because I don't want to wait for it again because that would just mess everything up. So I'm about halfway through, a little under halfway through. Listen, like, and I'm enjoying it, but not enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like, it's very readable, but also uncomfy the entire time. It's like a Black Mirror episode. Made that comparison before, and that I think I'm going to stick with that comparison. But listen, like, this book can go one of two ways. It can either go the Black Mirror route, where everything crashes and burns and nothing is happy at the end. Or there's this, so Elijah, like the slave, and Alex, like the master, I don't want to, I hate my life. So they have like a romance going on. I mean, I know the author isn't condoning their romance. Like I said, it's more of a commentary on this fictional world, but they have like a romance happening. So, but obviously it's extremely unhealthy, and there's a lot of consent issues and just a lot of nasty stuff happening. So it could either crash and burn and like Elijah gets killed or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. Or it can go a different route and Alex gets redeemed, because I think the book has started in both directions. Like, I think it could really go either way. And I obviously, personally, I don't think that Alex, even if he gets redeemed, I don't know if he'll truly be redeemed, you know, just because of all the shit that's already happened. But I kind of hope it's that direction, just because Black Mirror episodes always leave me so depressed. Though would I want Alex to be redeemed? Because, like, I mean, my favorite Game of Thrones character is Jaime Lannister, so I don't know what that says about me. But I don't know why I'm bringing that up now. I guess because I like redemption arcs. But I don't know if I'm going to like it in this case. I guess I just gotta keep reading. Wish me luck. I just finished Docile like an hour ago, and I have a lot of thoughts, so I think I'm just gonna try and walk through like the plot. So I'm gonna spoil everything, like I have with the other two books. So I've talked about kind of the premise, and so let me explain a little bit more. So the slaves who have to go pay off their debt usually take something called Docilin, which I think I've explained a little bit. Basically, it's like a drug that makes them submissive and like they can't remember stuff, so they take it because they don't want to remember all the terrible shit that the like masters tell them to do. And so they take the drug, but Elijah decides not to, for I won't go into why, but he doesn't. So that's kind of where that starts. So the first half of the book is Elijah and Alex, and like them forming a relationship that's obviously toxic and unconsensual because Elijah has no agency as Alex's servant. But we see from Elijah's and Alex's perspectives. So as we see from Elijah and like all his feelings about what's going on, we also see from Alex, and Alex has all this pressure because Alex is the CEO of this company that produces Docilin, the drug. So he has a lot of pressure to like make shit go right. We see from his point of view that he has all this pressure on him, and we see that he is like he's kind of empathetic towards Elijah, and we see that he's not as bad as some of the other like people at his level, like some of the other rich people at his level. We see worse ones, which obviously none of this justifies anything that Alex does, but it is interesting. We do see all like why he is doing what he's doing. And so we hit this halfway, this is all the first half of the book. So we hit this point where Elijah has basically been trained to do anything Alex wants. And even though Elijah didn't take the drug, he's still been trained this way. But then we hit this halfway point where something happens, and I won't go super into it because I would have to explain a lot, but something happens that makes Alex realize that he's actually like fallen in love with Elijah, one, and two, that what he's doing is incredibly wrong. There's this big event that happens, and Alex is like, oh my god, I've ruined this person's life, I've ruined how they think, and I'm in love with him, and if I truly love him, then I can't do this to him anymore. So he basically sends Elijah home. He's like, your debt's paid even though you're supposed to stay with me forever. Like, go home. Like, I can't do this to you anymore. This is evil of me. So he does that, but Elijah is so trained to want to be with Alex that Elijah, like, resists. So that's kind of the second half of the book, is Elijah going home, and then this whole lawsuit thing happens because Alex's father is pissed that he, like, likes Elijah and all this stuff. And when I said that I knew where the book was going, I knew that the second half of the book was going to be about Elijah and Alex kind of, like, still, like, trying to, like, figure out their relationship or whatever, which they do. Like, at the end, they're not together, but they're like, well, maybe someday, like, Elijah's like, once I heal from all the pain you caused me, like, it's just, this is the thing. I see what the author was trying to do, because Alex does redeem. Like, he does have a redemption arc. He speaks up for Elijah on his behalf during the trial. He condemns what he did as wrong, all this stuff. But that still doesn't make it, like, okay. Like, I still don't think I wanted them in a relationship at the end of the book after everything that went down in the first half. But I don't think that was... I feel like the author's intention wasn't to have me, like, be like, oh, Alex and Elijah are so cute together. Like, I feel like it wasn't that. It was more of a commentary on, like, the world that the author built. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it was like a Black Mirror episode, where in a Black Mirror episode, I'm not supposed to be like, wow, this was great, and all these characters are great. Like, I was supposed to think about it. So I feel like the author was challenging me to think, like, do I actually want Alex and Elijah together? Because they do have, like, moments where I'm like, wow, Alex really did regret the things he did. Or, like, wow, Elijah is healing. Like all this stuff that I'm thinking about, I feel like that was the author's intention, not having me being like, what a cute couple, you know what I mean? So I don't want to lower my rating because I'm feeling uncomfortable, because that was the author's intention, to make me feel uncomfortable, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I think I'm going to rate it like a 3.5, and I feel like that's not going to be my rating of the story. It's going to be my rating of what the author did. You know what I mean? Because the writing of this book is compulsively readable. It was very well written. It was super interesting. Again, like, I've never read anything like this. Like, it was extremely interesting and very, very adult. Like, I'm about to list 7 million triggers in the description of this video. Very adult. I don't think... As a mostly YA reader, I was reading parts of this book being like, wow, I am in over my head. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I think that is what I'm going to do. I think it's going to be like 3.5, 4. I don't know how I'm going to review this on Goodreads. I'm going to be like, it made me think, but it was uncomfy. I don't know. It was definitely a very unique read, and I've never read anything like it. And I will definitely look for what the author is doing in the future, because I think that this was a debut, which blows my mind, because it's like that high-class literary fiction that you expect like 20 years into an author's career or something. But anyway, let me go through. We've made it to the end of my little experiment, and actually I'm pretty happy with it. I had a really good time. So let me kind of rank the books. So I read The Season of Migration. I can't remember the author's name. Nellie Herman? Maybe I'm right. I read Ben Heavens by Daniel Kraus, and I read Docile by K.M. I don't remember. I'll put it on the screen. So my favorite was definitely Docile. I feel weird saying that, but it was definitely, even though both Docile and Ben Heavens had uncomfortable situations, I feel like I enjoyed the conversation that Docile was trying to have more than Ben Heavens. I feel like Docile, you know how I said for Ben Heavens that I really wish Daniel Kraus had like dived into like and broken open that conversation and really dug into it and just kind of glossed over it? I feel like Docile did do that. it was a long book. It was like 500 pages, and the author went in, and he talked about all the stuff that he wanted to talk about in this uncomfortable topic. So I feel like Docile was my favorite for that reason. Then Bent Heavens, because, no, wait, what did I rate? I think I rated Bent Heavens 2.5, and then Season Migration 2. So Bent Heavens was uncomfortable, and I didn't like it, but the writing was still really good. Season of Migration, I didn't like, and the writing was weird. So, there we go. So, that's my summary. I really enjoyed this. Let me know if you want me to do something like this again. I can find like the next 3 lowest rated books on my TBR or something. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye!